This is my first rant, so there will be others. Whatever else I've got to talk about. Politics, local, national, doesn't matter. I think that the main issue I was going to say about politics was we don't know enough about it. For those of you who don't know, I completed a degree well, most of you probably know that. I completed a degree this year, 3 months ago. Well, finished it. I get graduation in about a month, just over a month away. And yeah, so on that degree we had to do a part of political, well no, it was a political cabaret, and part of that module is learn about politics. And what was really hilarious in my year was that we had a girl, kind of like an exchange, but she was just coming to learn about theatre just for the year. So she was getting a broader spectrum of everything from being in physical theatre to clowning to performing in Brighton Fringe Festival. Go on, love. Yes, you, with your teddy bears and things, kiddie things stuck on your windows. Anyway, yeah. So a girl on my on our course was from Italy. She was learning about theatre, and she said she wanted a bit more time just to learn about British politics. She doesn't understand it. And someone blankly just said, "That's okay, neither do we." And now, when you say we, it was assumed to mean the class. Okay, yeah, we didn't know that much about British politics because there's probably a lot more that we could learn. Were we an MP? Were we a Member of Parliament? Were we Prime Minister? We probably know a hell of a lot more. Were we in the civil service? For those of you who don't know, the civil service kind of move in very small circles. If you imagine that the Members of Parliament, all of the MPs, were the steering wheel, this steering wheel, the civil service make up the horn button. They move in that smaller circle that they actually have a better grasp on how to run the country than what the MPs do. So they're very, very smart, very intelligent. I think when the coalition was happening and no one could decide on a Prime Minister, whether it was Lib Dems or Labour or Conservatives, the civil service were kind of in charge of the country. If anything major happened, if anyone went to war, the civil service would have had to take over. And it's all within those very few weeks. I mean, nothing ever does, thank God. But within those few weeks, the civil service actually have control of the country. So that's a very interesting point that I never knew about before that module. And what made me laugh was when this girl asked for more help with British politics and understanding it, and then someone else in our year suddenly said, "That's okay, neither do we." We, as in the British public, don't actually know that much about British politics. And again, George, who I'll link in the description on the next video, he made a very good point that it's not good enough that we don't know enough about British politics, and I kind of have to agree. The political cabaret was a really good, kind of a good learning curve for you to get to grasp with, because politics is really confusing, and yet we're surrounded by it every day. I mean, the roadworks, again, that's politics. Anything to do with your pay, anything to do with holiday, anything to do with how many breaks you're given at work, that all comes under politics, because that's all written in law. And if you want to go about changing any of those laws, you need to petition, you need to be involved in, someone else on that year was involved, is a political activist. I'll link him in the next video. But yeah, there's so many different things that you can do to get involved in politics, and even locally can have a huge detrimental effect on what happens nationally. So yeah, just turn on the news. Look at what happens on the news. Sorry, my steering, I'm just driving, remember, so if my steering wheel gets in the way, this will become a podcast. But yeah, so what happens locally can affect nationally, and then that, you know, that can make news. Our lecturer actually for a political cabaret, he said if you listen to the Friday news at 10 PM, it'll either be about war or murder or deficit of some sort, or like today on the radio actually, it was Cart, Essex, and there was a news story, and it was all about people who'd been murdered or going to prison, or people who had murdered someone. And I was a bit shocked to hear it actually, because this was the middle of the day, and they were saying about how many murders and court cases were going on because of people who had been murdered. And I think the very last news story at the end of that bulletin was about an award that had been given to someone. That was 1 out of 5 stories, which was good. Everything else was about someone being murdered or killed. And so media has detrimental effects as well, and here's me wanting to be involved in production and media, but I'm actually really shocked at how much the news reports on death. It's several years ago when David Cameron took the topic of Syria. If we were going to invade Syria, he took it to Parliament, and he asked Parliament to vote as to whether we should go to war with Syria, and Parliament said no. But all the way leading up to that day, the news were reporting on awful things, really awful things. The fact that riots had been going on, or the fact that things have been going on. What is it? Something else in 2011, I think it was. Oh yes, the London riots, and the riots that went on all over the country. Half the country was set on fire, and it was like we were descending into hell, because even the economy started falling. And here we are back in August again, and I'm not surprised if the economy is falling again, because August is really bad time. Really bad time. Nothing happens. Everyone is either on holiday or working, trying to get work done in time for September. Yeah, it's a very boring month, I'm afraid to say. Well, it is for me anyway. Nothing really exciting happens unless you make something happen, assuming you have any money, which I don't at the moment. And here I am driving, and yeah, so we'll kind of end it here for now, and I'll go back through it. I'll have a look. I will take the main points of this, and even when I get home, probably I will have a look at what else we can do and other things that I'm going to rant about, because I will rant. As I say, I've got so much on my mind at the moment that I just want to get it out, and I feel like I can get it out on here, and I'll edit the main points onto this rant. I'll call them rants. They're rants. So yeah, what else do I need to look out for? Google autofill. This weekend I will try. Emma and I, again, Emma I'll link in the description bar below. Emma's got her own channel and vlogs, and I started kind of getting involved in her vlogs kind of when we were out and about, just doing random things. And now what I would really love to do is, because I've been listening to people like Mr. Sunday Movies, John Negroni's post, who are Super Carlin Brothers, Alonzo Larone, really good names. I pity they're all American, but Emma is into watching pointless blogs with Alfie and Zoella, so big shout out to them. And yeah, so yeah, I've been watching all of these different videos over the past year, and I've kind of got an idea of what you talk about, what your themes are, and why I'd like to kind of get involved and do my own versions. But Super Carlin Brothers do Google autofill, and it kind of gave me an idea of doing something like it, but I need a topic, so I will probably start with something like Suicide Squad. Again, reviews are something else I want to do, so I will probably do a review of a film that we've seen over the past week or two. The most recent was Suicide Squad, and it's been getting a lot of hype. Bad hype, I think you can say, because the critics slated it. Mr. Sunday loved it. John Negroni enjoyed it, but he was frustrated at a lot of the stuff that they put in. He felt too much was put in, and in fact a lot of people on his podcast said the same. Although he watched Kobo and the Two Strings recently, and he loved that. I think it's up there with Finding Dory and Zootopia, which he rates it by grade, so he goes A, B, C, and he gives them pluses or minuses. But yeah, there's loads of things like that I'd like to do similarly, but obviously with my own version, and I'll rate them differently. Sorry, it's so hot in this car, my phone stopped working. yeah, as I said, hottest day of the year. So I'll have to end the vlog here. Rant, sorry. Something again. It's a rant, not a vlog. These are the rants of Benson. So yeah, I will do a follow-up video to this. I will do some Google autofill and maybe a review of Suicide Squad later in the week. Stay tuned for them. Please like and subscribe. If you like me ranting, maybe it's quite funny to hear me rant, maybe it's interesting to hear me rant. Yeah, please do like, subscribe and follow, because I'll try and do more comedic things in those other videos that I mentioned. So yeah, take care.